Hello, my fellow LGBTQ community. Hi. Winter is queer, am I right? Alright, so I just saw the latest episode of Game of Thrones and it was pretty great. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't think everyone is going to enjoy it because this is really it's another slower episode. Like, there's not much that happens in this episode, you know, a few things do get revealed and shit like that, but for the most part it's just character once again talking and forming relationships and, you know, stuff like that. And I thought it was all done pretty good. Like, all the characters were written pretty good and they acted like their usual selves, and, you know, Arya fucked Gendry. But yeah, it was a very slow and nice episode, and overall a very wholesome episode. And I find it kind of funny because I imagine those like fucking morons that like watch Game of Thrones in like a bar filled with people like drinking beer and just like barely paying attention to what's going on, and then they're like fucking clapping whenever something, you know, you like happen and shit like that. Like, I just imagine how pissed these people were. Like, there's actually a comment like that I found, I think it was like a promo for the next episode, where someone said like he asked for his money back at one of those bars because he found the episode to be too boring. It's just, if you're someone like that, then Game of Thrones is not for you. Like, I'm sorry, like, that was perhaps the dumbest fucking comment I've ever read, and I'm sure that a lot of people like that. But anyway, going back to the episode, the overall the most like underlying thing that happens throughout this episode is kind of we're watching Daenerys's like descent into fucking madness. Like, you know that like either by the next episode or by like episode 4 she's gonna just go and say fuck all of you because nobody fucking respects her anymore. Like, ever since you know she's used to like always being fucking like praised by everyone, like she's the fucking queen, like Messiah or Missa or whatever the fuck, you know, everyone's praising her, and now she's here in the north and like nobody gives a shit about her. Like, you know, like nobody respects her authority. Like, I feel like she's gonna go full like Eric Cartman and just say fuck you guys, I'm going home. And she's gonna fucking like, she's gonna become a problem. Like, it's pretty obvious from this episode that she's gonna become a problem like real soon. But like the moment that really like where that like really culminates is when Jon Snow tells her like his heritage, and like at that point like she's like, and it's the end of the episode, but like at that point like you know shit's gonna happen with her. And like, you know that this like information and her like mind state right now is going to affect the next episodes, and probably a lot of people are going to die because she's not gonna be like very focused. But besides that, there's really not much else. Like, and don't get me wrong, I still like love everything about this episode, but it's mostly just characters like talking, reminiscing, and like you know getting to know each other better. And there's like a really beautiful like that entire part. That entire part where like they're all in a room and like are next to the fireplace and they're just like talking and drinking, and you know, like it's not something that you're used to in Game of Thrones. Like, usually everyone in Game of Thrones is very angry, talking about like betrayal and shit. Like, and just watching like these dudes like and girls just sit down and like, you know, just drink and talk and like really bond. It was really nice. I really enjoyed that. And once again, I found the characterization to be very strong. And of course Arya fucked Gendry. And also I love that knighting scene. Like, that was such a beautiful and wholesome scene. And like, you know, you could really like see that like that genuine smile that Brienne gives at the end. Just like, God, it makes it a great moment. Like, one of the most wholesome and beautiful moments in the entire show, really. You know, there's more to lose, I feel like, than like before. You know, like, where before I was like, I wanted more characters to die, especially like after that fucking like East Watch or whatever, like that episode where like, you know, all the extras died and like nobody and everyone had a fucking like a full diamond plot armor, like, you know, and I was kind of like begging for someone to die. Like, now I kind of, you know, don't want to, and I'm very concerned, and I would be really sad like if, you know, a lot of these characters die, which is good, you know, which is kind of what you want to feel towards characters in a television show. But yeah, there's not much more to talk about. Like, it was, you know, I really like this episode. You know, a lot of great moments and a lot of like conversations that like you really needed. like, you know, you need that like final conversation between Holland and Arya, like in case someone dies in the next episode. You know, you sort of really need those moments, you know, between these characters, you know, sort of, you know, to conclude a lot of these relationships, you know, so they can kill them next week. But yeah, like really the next week's episode is going to like, it's really going to set the stage for this season. And I feel like, you know, these 2 episodes are great, I love them, but like, you know, these next 4, you know, really next 3, because the last one is gonna be like the wrap up, like these next 3 are gonna be like the actual fucking like plot and narrative, and they're gonna have to like, you know, prove themselves, and they're gonna really determine whether this is a good season or not. But overall, like, I am enjoying it. Like, it really feels like, you know, the writers really learned from their mistakes and like corrected a lot of the problems that were in the previous season. This now feels like we're back, you know, in this world in Game of Thrones, and you know, it's like, but it still like feels, you know, like everything has progressed and like everything has led to this moment. And like, you know, I really hope that the next 4 episodes like give a satisfying conclusion, because like if this season ends up being great, then like we're really just gonna have like season 7 as like the bad one, but not really the bad one, but like the worst of the series. But like if this season like fucking nails it, like season 7 would be able to be forgiven, you know, because like it's like the one misstep. But like if this is great, then we're still gonna have an overall great show. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts of the episode. Like, but one thing that I want to like kind of really specifically talk about is you know, that conversation when they're planning their attack and whatever, when Bran comes and he like starts talking and like says that he is death and that his ultimate goal is to like wipe out like existence. And I find that whole conversation about like, you know, what keeps us alive, what makes us alive is like the memories, you know, the stories that people tell about us, you know, the things that are written in the books, like sort of that's what makes us like live even like past our death. And they basically, Night King's like, you know, goal is to like wipe out everything and to like make everything into basically nothing, like the Long Night, which like I like that scene. But what it basically, it just only confirms that Night King is really not a character, and that he's mostly just this like force, this like, you know, embodiment of death, which, you know, the writers already said. But you know, I'm still kind of hoping that there's more to him and to the White Walkers, you know, and just like having them be nothing but the embodiment of death is kind of boring and not really Game of Thrones-ish. So I hope that they do something interesting, like if like in the next episode, you know, Night King somehow communicates with Bran like telepathically and kind of gives him like a, well, not really like a story, but it makes you just sort of understand the character more and like really give us something more to hold on than just, oh, you know, he's this embodiment of evil. You know, maybe make him, you know, maybe go back like season 3 or 4 when that motherfucker Craster, you know, like sent like, you know, victims to the White Walkers, and like they kind of like reproduce that way. So, like that kind of confirmed that they need humans to survive and they need human victims. So like maybe, you know, there's this really popular theory that like before, you know, what ended the previous like Long Night was when like the humans made the deal that they're gonna send their children and their young to the Night King, who's going to, you know, keep his race alive, and as long as that deal is upheld, they would be like separated, you know, behind this wall. And you know, they will all live in peace. However, you know, generations went by and people stopped sending victims. So now, you know, the last person to do that was Craster. He was really like the last one remaining who held on to that tradition and who like kept sort of them satisfied. And now that when he died, like they really, like they faced extinction. So like that's why they're going back, like to, you know, renew that deal sort of. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm hoping for happens. But like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't think at this point, because kind of Bran confirmed it. But hey, maybe, you know, Bran did confirm that he doesn't know everything. Like when he said that he doesn't know if Dragonfire will kill the Night King, because, you know, like nobody's ever tried it. So maybe like he doesn't know everything, but like I think it's pretty much like a done deal that like Night King isn't really going to be much more than just the embodiment of death. So I'm really interested to see what happens next, and I am really looking forward to the next episode, which kind of like last season I wasn't really I mean, first of all, it was way overshadowed by Twin Peaks, but like also, you know, like I wasn't really like that looking forward to it. But like this season is looking better, and I'm really hoping that like they nail this ending. So yeah, that's it. We'll see ya.